It's an important weekend.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Greetings. So much going on in international news, strife obviously in the Middle East, and the politics of this country are just incredible right now. Between criminal trials, congressional hearings blowing up, debates, an Iowa caucus that is scheduled for Monday in sub-freezing weather, the likes of which even Iowans are hardly comfortable with. On the calendar is this 3-day weekend. And Martin Luther King Jr. Day is probably, well, you know what? Let me not make assumptions about what Martin Luther King Jr. Day means and what it has come to. My guest is going to talk to me about that this evening. So it's great to have you aboard. Thanks very much. But before we get going, as we record 1 o'clock on Thursday, an hour ago on Thursday, Belichick said goodbye, sort of. Now, this headline was prior to the official announcement. There were a lot of vibes in the morning, but it was true that Bill Belichick parted ways with the Patriots, and Robert Kraft and he both did a shoulder-to-shoulder event without questions. Now, again, on Thursday at 1 o'clock, Robert Kraft was going to come back and answer questions from the press at 2. So as you're seeing this on Friday on Fox and on the CW on Sunday and on Channel 12 on Sunday, you probably have seen how Robert Kraft handled all of that. But end of an era, no doubt. Listen, I'm a big Giant fan, but Belichick has Giant pedigree, so there's a little bit of a tug. I actually went to the last game on Sunday of last week amidst that snow just to, some tickets landed in my lap at 11 o'clock in the morning. I took a quick ride up. The place was half empty. Nobody was shouting for Bill. There was a lot of disgust, more focus on throwing ice balls than anything else. So this whole sovereign Patriot fan nation thing ain't perfect either. You know what I mean? But we'll see where he ends up, and we'll see what the replacement is. And they just don't build franchises and sporting relationships like this anymore, do they? But let's not forget what Monday is. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we hardly need to introduce the concept, the famous speeches, and all that they mean. I don't think we need to probably say hello to Martin Luther King Jr. here. We'll just put him up and remind everybody about a famous day in 1963, but a famous era, of course, and the nation respects what he produced for this country, and I never really have a good way of explaining it. I think it's hard to grasp the momentous nature of his arrival on this planet and the work that he did. But my guest certainly has a history with me on my programs of putting it all in perspective. Welcome, Ricardo Pitts-Wiley.
Thank you, Dan. Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. Not a stranger to this audience or the radio audience. He's the co-founder of the Mixed Magic Theater, which is a wonderful, wonderful production in Pawtucket. And before we even get going, let's sell a presentation that's actually happening on Monday. Can we put this up, Matty? Thank you. The City of Pawtucket, in partnership with the Mixed Magic Theater, students are invited to participate in the 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. It's a dramatic reading of the letter from Birmingham City Jail. I have seen Ricardo perform this. It is poignant. You have some of it in front of you. Mm-hmm. We always get on so much that we probably don't have time for a long narrative. But explain what the show is about, how people will benefit from seeing it, and why you choose to read that letter.
Well, there's a couple of things. One, I think it may be one of the top 10 most significant documents of literature in American history. It has grown in its importance since it was done in 1963. It spells out and questions the American democracy at a time when the idea of the survival of the democracy was not the key issue. Civil rights was the key issue. But not that civil rights has faded in its importance, but the democracy has emerged, and the literature that supports that democracy has emerged as much more important. We are now looking at and analyzing writings from Jefferson to King to Kennedy's and so on. Many people made great contributions to the American literary landscape that defined the democracy. King was, with 3 of his speeches, I think, is a significant contributor, and that's a reason to celebrate this day as much as anything, because he was a staunch defender of the idea of democracy. He was a staunch defender of the creed of the American idea, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that all men are created equal and have certain inalienable rights, chief among them, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He believed that. And I've often said about King and the civil rights movement, I think it's the greatest civil rights movement in the history of the world, because it wasn't to bring a country to its knees or to destroy it. It was to make it accountable for what it said it was all along. Mm-hmm. There could have been no civil rights movement without the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, the Constitution of the United States. It couldn't have happened because we were able to, as a people, to look at history and literature and language and say, this is what you said you were. This is the idea that we believe in. We believe in it more than you do in many ways, because the civil rights movement was saying, be what you say you are. It wasn't saying we want to destroy the country, we want to go to a different form of government. No, we believe in this. And King's writings, many of them supported that idea of the American democracy as a great idea.
And the thing that I've always been puzzled about when it comes to matching the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the foundation of our democracy, and the horrible way that black people have been treated in this country in history, is why did the concept not grow past white America?
Well,
why did the concept have to be sold? Now look, there was a slave trade. There was
right.
there was
Native American genocide.
Right.
That you can't rule that out of the equation. That's a big part of the equation. The North American slave trade and Native American genocide are in lockstep in many ways with the creation.
Establishing a different level of condition between human beings, correct?
Absolutely. In this country, it existed. You know, the United States didn't invent slavery. They didn't invent genocide. But they were really one of the first, along with the Magna Carta and some other, civil human rights documents, spelled out an idea that this is not the way we have to live. This is not the way we should live. You know, I've always said about the Constitution, it was a document created to protect white people from each other, white men from each other, But it spelled out these ideals that were so precious, so human, so humanistic, that even if the framers didn't believe it all themselves, they were seeking a perfect way of articulating an ideal society. Mm. Well, eventually, the founders, the framers, all died, but the ideas didn't die. Ideas are powerful things. And everybody could go back to those ideas, whether they were written for them or not. Because you got to keep in mind, not only were people of color not included in the document, neither were women. But it created a framework for them to launch their own civil rights movement, even though it began with black women and white women. The suffragette movement ultimately became a white women's movement, and black women had to join with black men and others to find their own civil rights movement, to create their own civil rights movement. But to document, going back to the document, why literature is so important, why we read this letter, the letter from Birmingham City Jail, every year, because it crystallizes and says very specifically what the intent was, not the reality, but the intent. And sometimes that's all you can build on is the intent, because the reality is so destructive sometimes that I'm working on a play now that I've been working on for a lot of years that asks a question from 1987. It's called The Spirit Warrior's Dream. And it asks the question, is America a failed idea whose time has passed on unrealized promise? Which is it? And when I wrote that play, first wrote it at the University of Rhode Island in 1987, I thought I was writing political fantasy. But it's 2024, and that question is on the table, right, front and center.
With that thought, we'll come back because this notion of democracy, by coincidence or by attrition of it, is the question in this election statement. Obviously, a very important weekend and day, and again, 2 p.m. tomorrow at Miss Magic Theater, the letter from the Birmingham City Jail, performed by Ricardo Pitts-Wiley, my guest. But you know, listen, I never have enough time with you, especially on a short program like this.
Actually, I won't be performing the letter this year.
Oh, you won't?
It's a group of students from the Providence,
nice.
Pawtucket area. They're all young people, high school students.
Oh, okay.
And it is part of passing on the legacy of King that is so important that we can't assume that we can trust reports, even the news, to accurately depict who and what King was and what he did. You have to participate in it. You have to read the letter.
So I want to talk about this democracy thing, but I want to get this question out. It's something I was thinking about driving in. And I don't know what the politically correct way to ask the question is, so I'll just ask the question. You and I have enough equity that you'll give me a break if you think it's the wrong form, and you'll tell me if it's the wrong, and you'll tell me if it's the wrong way to ask the question.
I hope I would.
Is the struggle of black people in America off the front page right now?
It is not on the front page necessarily. I hesitate to say it's off the front page because that would say that the significance of black people's lives is less important than it was some years ago. It's still
not the intent of the question, but you know what I mean.
Yes, it is vitally important, but as you become more a part of the reality of a country, the system of a country, everybody's issue gets moved off the front page at various times. It's not just black people's. Right. Part of the reason we have so much dissent in this country right now is because there's a group of white people who felt like they got pushed off the front page. That their issues, their story, you know. So everybody has a turn at being pushed off to the side.
Well, look, thankfully, although I'm sure there are still pockets of problems as law enforcement hopefully is doing a real internal job on its own industry. Mm-hmm. We haven't had a George Floyd event in the last year or so that has dominated. That has
dominated the way George. You keep in mind, media has a lot to do with this.
I get that. And if we keep taking lanes off this highway, we'll have a 7-hour show. But the reason I asked the question is that it also dovetails to what really is on the front page. Going back to this commitment to democracy that King had, And the struggle now that we have in 2024, where Joe Biden, the incumbent president, is trying to make democracy the actual issue of the day. The ironies of that are incredible, don't you think?
I not only do I think it's incredible, it was something that King could have predicted. He, in a letter from Birmingham City Jail, he was laying out a track, a history, forecast that was saying, if you don't take care of these things, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose this democracy.
And what were those things?
Those things were, if you say that justice ought to be a just system, then you ought to practice it. If you say that each man is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, you need to practice that. If you don't practice something, you'll lose it.
And what was his reflection on institution? Because one of the things that I find myself most aggrieved over is over the course of the last 20 years, but certainly hyperbolized with Donald Trump's presidency and all the turmoil we're in right now, is a dramatic loss of respect for institution.
Well, institutions lost their respect because they deserve to lose their respect. I'll go back to the Nixon era during the Watergate hearings. One of the things that I was most proud of my country during the Nixon era, during the Watergate hearings, was the founding fathers, the framers of the Constitution, had written out a document that said, if a president becomes entangled in illegality and chaos, there's a way to remove him, and there's a procedure that you go through to replace him.
Yeah. A political procedure.
A political procedure. It worked to the letter. Nixon resigned, Ford was installed, the country moved on. It worked just the way they said it. Then in 2000, something happened that I think that began, for me anyway, institutional mistrust. That was when the Supreme Court ruled on the 2000 election. I'm a firm believer that Gore lost the election not in Florida, he lost it in Tennessee. He didn't win his home state, which would have changed the equation. But when the Supreme Court came in and said, we're going to make a one-time decision, according to them, to declare a winner, as opposed to saying there's something terribly wrong with what happened in Florida. We can't tolerate that. You have to do it again. You have to get it right. And they didn't do that. Well, it opened the door to challenge the voting process.
Yeah, I can't relive that day, but I understand what you're talking about. I mean, to what? Recount and or to rerun an election in Florida would have been the solution that you're suggesting the Supreme Court should have offered.
But they didn't. But so for me, I looked at it and said, well, if I can't trust you to make a good decision to defend this democracy, who do I trust?
Well, you know, look, I get it. And again, Ricardo and I have the chance of going to midnight 3 times over on all these conversations. I so enjoy, I just so enjoy the whole exercise. But let's just get down to brass tacks here. What happened at the Capitol? I see it in everyday life here in Rhode Island. You know, any kind of leadership, never mind authority, is so demeaned. Everybody thinks they're as smart as everybody else.
Yeah.
This is a human issue. It's not a racial issue. It's a human issue.
It's a human issue.
And we're sitting here now debating whether or not a democracy. Look, Joe Biden's trying to bring that. I think if he overplays his hand, he's going to lose.
If he underplays his hand, he's going to lose.
Yeah, the finesse of this is incrable, right?
Yes, it
Does
is.
Donald Trump actually make it through this whole mess? Who knows? He'll be the nominee, no doubt. What a crazy scene. But look, we have one. Can we put this headline up on Leobor real quick? I only have a minute on this, but here's the local issue I think that does impact race relations significantly in the state, and the Speaker of the House promises to make it a front and center issue. It's the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. It's about for people in the community, it's about having a better shot at fairness in law enforcement. Even law enforcement officials want to see some change to this. Quick thought on it?
Well, first of all, I've never been a fan of the Police's Bill of Rights because I thought that the same rights that I have is the same rights that they should have. And if they were being exercised, you wouldn't need a special. That a police officer is in a dangerous job very often, and that they need special protection, not from citizens. They should be afforded
From the disciplinary system.
Yes, but to say that because I'm a police officer, I can do things and I get this extra shield that a normal citizen doesn't get doesn't seem fair to me, and I have law enforcement people in my family. I understand and appreciate the risk that they put their lives on the line. But if everybody follows the law should apply equally to everybody.
We'll have more time to talk about that. And by the way, the Speaker of the House is going to join us next week to talk more about it. By the way, there's one more show that you should put on your calendar. I'll tell you about that next. Stay with us.
Somebody found joy in the valley, found it to be bright as the morning star.
Hallelujah now!
Joy, unspeakable joy, joy unspeakable.
So that is a little bit of a promotional video. You got a big thing coming up in February at PPAC. That's a big house, brother.
That's a big house.
That's a big house. Let me see here. February 27th, 24th, 7 p.m. Beautiful. Give me 20 seconds on it.
It is a celebration of music and the joy and uplift it brings in people's lives. We formed the Exalt Choir 15 years ago to bring joy and uplift via music to the public. And our Exalt Choir has been very successful in starting with gospel music and now integrating world music and pop music.
Well, it's not sold out yet, right?
It's not it's not sold out.
But it's PPAC, you got to fill that house. So remember, the 27th.
Yeah. It's an important event for the community also.
Good, awesome. I gotta run. Thank you. Enjoy your MLK Day, bro.
Always do.
And we'll be right back, family. Speaker of the House next week.